into a brand new wave, drowning out the noise it's tame. Liberty whispers through the brave, breaking free from every chain. Nullify the rules they crave, crypto beats that pave the way. Anarchy with minds that's safe, algorithms new dawn today. Out of bounds and out of sight, building futures pure and bright. Escape the grip and win the fight. Welcome into the legacy ride. Beyond control we take a stand, casting off the iron brand. Freedom flowing through our hands, revolution's our command. Decentralize the way we plan, all together we expand. Breaking shackles for the clan, in this journey we're unpanned. Out of bounds and out of sight, building futures pure and bright. Escape the grip and win the fight. Welcome into the legacy ride.
If you're listening, you probably didn't miss it, man. About ready to jump back into the Crypto Wednesday. About ready to glisten with something that's a Lipton. I don't know what the hell I'll be saying, so I'm about ready to cause some mayhem. You know how it is. I'm Super Saiyan. Going out on the crypto, about ready to miss yo with a pistol to your tempo. Oh no, about ready to grab your assets, ho. There, welcome to Crypto Wednesday. Legacy News, episode 68. We got a good one for you, and let's get ready. I am the legacy of Jennifer Kaiser. Let's
You killed my
message.
best friend! I'm going Super Saiyan! Ah!
don't ever mess with buttons, man. Don't ever mess with buttons.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't
you
think I can go
you and
Super Saiyan
buttons
again.
don't work. Yeah, you and buttons don't work. But welcome in, everybody. Happy Wednesday. This is Crypto Wednesday. I just learned that Andrew has a crush. I'm gonna keep that secret, Andrew. Don't worry. I'm gonna keep it secret.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Oh
but
God.
hilarious. I'm gonna keep it to it. I'm gonna keep to it though. I'm gonna harass you,
Yeah,
brother,
yeah.
till you actually
Just wait until
push
the witch
forward on
hunt
it.
comes out. Then it'll all spill over, like it always
Mhm.
does.
So, welcome everybody. That's Andrew Joseph. I'm Zachary Kaiser. This is Crypto Wednesday. We're back. We took a break from a Wednesday episode last week, and we got some news for you. Actually, a recent episode from Steve of Crypto University. Actually, it is recent, right? I haven't watched it. I
Yeah.
go blind.
Right.
So
Yeah. It's a little under a month, I believe. So I've been
let's
catching
just
up with programs. So
well let's talk about Steve and his forecast analysis. He's pretty precise in his forecast. And this latest episode
months out
we're gonna
in
watch.
advance.
This later episode that we're going to be watching with all of you guys and commentating on has a lot to do with an even bigger prediction that transcends not just the next few months, not just the next the latter half of this decade, not I mean, we're talking into the 30s. Where is Bitcoin going, and is it time for us to get ready and prepared for its inevitable failure, or is it something big for the future? So that's effectively where we're at. Anything to say on that matter, to kind of hit up the spiciness of this video before we jump into it, Andrew?
Oh man, well, I haven't watched it yet. Like I said, I've been catching up, and this is just the latest episode. So, but it's that we're basing this assumption based off the headline of the episode title. So, the
Hold on.
2030s Bitcoin.
You didn't watch it? I thought you
Not
said you
yet.
watched it. Oh, Jesus. You're supposed to be prepped and prepared. You prepped and ready for all of this, man. This is your episode.
I know. I'm sorry.
You know what? You're fired, bald head.
I trust him. Plenty of his episodes, and I
You're
absolutely with 100% accuracy assume and know that he's on the money.
So when we watch this, you have your ad blocker on, right? Or
No,
we gonna
I'm
watch
sorry.
an ad?
You know who I am.
With how YouTube is, we're probably gonna have about 18 ads on this one clip as of
Oh,
recently.
forgive me.
It's
I'm pretty
sad.
quick with cutting it away. So
I don't care, man. At least get on Brave.
yeah, okay. Well, are we gonna get into this or what?
Let's roll, man. Let's roll.
Riders on the storm, baby. The 2030s Bitcoin bloodbath no one is prepared for. Here we go.
It's likely in the 2030s that Bitcoin could face one of the biggest bloodbaths it's ever seen in its entire history. A bloodbath unlike anything that any cycle has brought to us before, simply because there's a bigger cycle at play here. Everybody knows about the 4-year cycle, and you can look at crypto and say, okay, 4-year cycle, and everybody gets it. It's easy to understand. What you don't understand is this has also been going on in the stock market forever. You can look at 1958, the bottom of the market here. 4 years later in 1962, the bottom of the market here. 4 years later, right here in 66, bottom of the market. 4 years later in 1970, bottom of the market. How about 74, bottom of the market? We get all that. Everyone understands the 4-year cycle. But what nobody is discussing are the bigger cycles at play. You see, every 30 to 40 years, we have a bloodbath for 10 years. It's devastating. It's easy to see on this chart. In the 1930s, we hit a bloodbath, and we weren't able to get above this new all-time high for more than 10 years.
You started a business because you wanted freedom. But let's be honest, do you really feel free? Because for
it was 10 years of an absolute horrific bloodbath that affected the entire world. Fast forward after that, once we got out of the bloodbath, we had some of the glorious rallies in recent memory. And we'll rally typically for 10, 15, sometimes 20 years, rallying with the most glorious rallies we've ever faced. But then the cycle repeats. We get back into a bloodbath. The 1970s was the absolute devastating bloodbath. Why? Because there's two kinds of cycles. There's trending markets, and then there's consolidating markets. If we're trending upwards for a decade or more, we're going to need a time that we consolidate and break down. In other words, bloodbath. Then this whole thing repeats. After the 1970s bloodbath for 10 years, we broke out of it, and we had some of the biggest rallies seen known to man. You see, there's a problem here. The last time we had this bloodbath was here, starting in the year 2000, when Bitcoin wasn't around. So Bitcoin has never been around during the worst economical times in the history of mankind. We had this repeat every single time in a specific pattern. And I want to break down how this could affect Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin comes out of it alive, what type of rally is it going to see after that? How big could this be? And how would it affect altcoins. Let's get into it. Hi, I'm Steve. I quit my job over
Let's
13
talk about that.
years ago.
Pause it for a
Been
second.
traveling the world since, thanks to my trading.
You didn't see me do this. Speaking of bloodbath,
Uh,
going off of economic scenarios, boom bust cycles, a lot of it is manipulated, obviously, to the contrary of the market with monetary policy and political economic endeavors, laws, regulations, etc., etc. But could this be a scenario, since he's right, Bitcoin hasn't seen or been around for a corrective situation within the overall markets until recently? So could this be a calling for Bitcoin to be a rallying point for individuals to protect their assets within the Bitcoin apparatus? Or will Bitcoin, like any asset in its form as it has become, have a dropping point and have to rebuild, just like the overall market?
Well, I believe, there's no consistent, stability in any market. There's always going to be fluctuating. Like you said, it's either a consolidating market or it's a trending market. And if with the stock exchange, it leads all the markets, right? Everything kind of follows
Mhm.
the momentum of the stock exchange because it's internationally, people will trade it from all sorts of countries to make extra money. I can see Bitcoin it capitulating for a period of time during this, but it won't be like back to $50,000 or anything like that. It'll be big, but it won't be spectacular.
Well, I mean, to your point on that, you're evaluating Bitcoin as the asset up on a official stock exchange, so a commodity. I'm talking like, is it a rallying point for it to become what it was always meant to be, to protect your assets outside of Bitcoin within the overall market, for something that you can trust within the blockchain so that you can stay stable and hedge it, and perhaps Bitcoin becomes more of a utility factor in these years to come, where we are going to see some very, very hard times. It's inevitable,
I can
everybody.
I could see the governments around the world who have been accumulating Bitcoin, using it as a way to stabilize their currencies. I mean,
So
it's got a long history of people like in the FBI and CIA trying to co-opt it and manipulate it for their own use.
get the FBI and the CIA out of your mind. Just in general, on a general basis, they are stocking up to utilize it as a store of value to protect themselves in relevance towards their own official currencies, so that they can stabilize within the hard times to come.
Yes,
But so
it's a renegotiation of their potential purchasing power.
so effectively, what you're trying to say is we can't rewind time. We can't go back. We can't go to a time where Bitcoin is a utility factor. So it is inevitably going to have to be a store of value purpose on a larger scale if it is to have a success rate within the inevitable financial and economic doom, a
Bitcoin
depression,
Core is
as
yes.
you. So, anything else to say on the matter?
No, I mean, any other questions you have, I might be able to try to answer them, but uh, I think I
Nobody,
pretty much
nobody
covered
wants to.
everything.
Nobody wants to listen to you armchair it as a fake economist. Let's
Okay.
get back to the video.
All right.
And investing skills. Join me for sponsorship-free TA with genuine value that actually works. Subscribe. In today's video, I'm going to describe a couple different charts. We're going to use this chart here, and we're also going to use this chart here. And I also want to bring most attention back to Bitcoin, crypto, and altcoins and how these things will be affected. But I want you to be able to draw this at home. So what we've got on our chart right here is the S&P 500 index. And right now we're on the 12-day chart. And we threw on the Gaussian channel. So you can just go to your indicators, type in Gaussian channel, throw that bad boy on there, go to the 12-day, and you got it. In simple terms, what you want to look for is when this thing starts flashing red. When it starts flashing red, you know that that 10-year period has started and it's time to run. But I want to talk to you about what you should do before that red period and what you should do after. And this could really maximize things. And by the way, I know we're talking about the 2030s and everyone in crypto wants to know what's going to happen today or tomorrow. I need you to take a step back because these are the big boy moves that can multiply your portfolio in a large way. And it's highly important to understand how this will affect Bitcoin, how this will affect altcoins, because I hate to break it to you, but cycles repeat. Why? Human behavior is easily predictable.
Actors, we can make you believe we know what we're doing, when in fact, we do not.
No hype, just facts. Subscribe and relax. Humans were so far out of whack here before the 1930s happened. In the 1920s, it was the glory days, and everything was rising faster than you can imagine, which led everybody to believe it will just continue. But for more than 10 years, there was a devastating bloodbath. We never got close to any of those prices, right? Imagine you bought up here. You were more than a decade of in the red. You would never hold for more than a decade in the red. It's highly likely those people gave up, which shed a new light on a rejuvenated market, which is why we exploded afterwards. And then this pattern repeated and it repeated. And I hate to break it to you, it's going to repeat again. And if you're not ready for it, it'll wipe out your entire portfolio. And you'll get out at the worst possible time, and you'll spend the next 10 to 20 years trying to recover from those brutal losses. And it will affect your house, your car, probably your marriage. It'll be devastating. It's much better just to pay attention to this video so you can educate yourself and be more ready. And there's moves you can start to be making now to prepare for it. Now, what I would like to say is I understand that nobody is going to talk about these types of charts with Bitcoin, the market, and these kind of takes. You know, a lot of people like to talk about how high can we go, how bullish, how this, you know, to the moon, 100x, 1000x. I get it. It's just not what I'm interested in. I'm interested in the reality and I'm interested in the facts. And I really love the cycles. And, you know, just like to nerd out a little bit with these cycles. They're super cool and they repeat. So they're very predictable. So they're just so powerful, right? The problem is Bitcoin started once we got out of this 10-year cycle, right? When 2009, 2010 hit, we were just getting out of here. That's when Bitcoin started. In other words, Bitcoin came out at the most ideal time ever. You don't need to be a rocket scientist to see when we got out of these 10-year periods, that's when we had the largest rallies. Then we go back into them, then we got out of them, and then we have the large Bitcoin started at the best possible time. And you may say, oh, well, Bitcoin started out of the gates really, really hot. Hello, that's what it was supposed to do. That's what the entire market did. That's what everything did. This leads us to a problem. Bitcoin has never lived through one of these periods where a lot of people think of the 4-year cycle has to make a new all-time high. Well, what if it doesn't for 10 years? What if we don't have a new all-time high for 10 years? What would that do to Bitcoin? What would that do to the miners? How much would they capitulate? How much would the market start to fall apart? How much would all of these altcoins start to go bankrupt? How much would that entire altcoin industry start to disintegrate before our eyes? And a lot of people's net worths would evaporate right before our eyes. I want to talk more about that because that's where we can really start to make an impact. And by the way, I know this is going to be an unpopular video because anytime you provide truth about something, you know, sometimes it's off-putting, especially for those. I want you to share this video with every person you know who's in crypto, because this is a dose of reality. And by the way, I just want to state for the record, when we get out of this period, if that's when the glory days will start again. So I want to project when that could be and what that could look like. And more importantly, what do I think? Do I think Bitcoin could potentially come out of that? Do I think altcoins could potentially come out of that? I want to provide my honest opinion on that towards the end of the video. When we're breaking it down, now you start to get a visual. You're like, okay, I get it. The market gets super, super hot. The market consolidates, builds healthy market structure. Then we are so rejuvenated that we have an absolute parabolic rise. And then we have a parabolic rise so high, so fast, so long that this whole thing repeats. We build healthy market structure, and then we rally again. Then we build healthy market structure, and then we rally. So how long have we been rallying here? And how long did we rally here and here? And what can here and here tell us about where we're at here? This is where things get interesting. And by the way, here's another way to look at it. This is the S&P 500. And what I've done is I put this blue line on the chart. This is where you can have a pretty big superpower, a pretty big competitive advantage, because I have this EMA on here, the 27 EMA. That's on the 2-month chart. That's in blue here. I just wanted to say, shout out to you if you started following our community during this market cycle. We're building something special. We're building something incredible, and we welcome you in. And especially a shout out to those that have been following for multiple cycles.
Is this just his
something
outro?
really special. I greatly
No,
appreciate
it's just
you,
a small
and we're gonna
promo.
continue to help change lives, educate people, provide facts in.
Do we need to watch it?
Hi, Mr.
It's
Wonderful
almost
here.
over.
You know, I don't waste time, and I definitely don't waste money. I joined Start Engine as
the charts. I wanted to identify
Okay.
when do we start.
Just plugging.
have these
Always
10-year
always
periods.
be plugging.
And what I've looked at is it's simply when we have the S&P 500 dip below the blue line for the first time. That's our indication we've got 10 years. Then we have our next rally. We hold the blue line as support the whole time. As soon as we have a candle actually close below, that's the start of that 10-year period. Then this whole thing repeats. Healthy rally. As soon as we close below this blue line, it's a 10-year period. Then healthy rally. It's a pretty simple game. Another way to look at it is Gaussian channel. When it flips red on the 12-day, it's the start of the 10-year period. So now that you have these cheat codes, it's going to help you dramatically in the stock market, because what do you want to be doing? You want to be buying during that 10-year period when all the other idiots are giving up, right? You just want to take advantage of blood in the streets, you buy. It's going to be emotionally hard to do because everybody will be saying it's the end of the world. It's likely at that time we'll have some sort of war, some sort of terror, whatever happens. It'll be very scary, right? It'll be like COVID times 10. It'll be like, oh my God, the world is literally going to end. It's not going to end. It's going to be an incredible time to invest. And that's going to print a lot of millionaires and potentially decamillionaires, centimillion, whatever the case may be. It's going to make a lot of people very, 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 very wealthy, because it's just a repeatable pattern. The world is not ending. No hype, just facts. Subscribe and relax. They thought the world was ending in the 30s. They thought it was ending in the 70s, and everybody thought it was ending here too. But it didn't end. It was just the best time of your entire life to invest. That's it. Pretty simple, right? So it's not scary. It's not the end of the world. So in the 2030s, we're going to have the worst news for Bitcoin that's ever happened. And there's going to be, I can't predict what's going to happen. We're in the year 2025. And this video is way ahead of its time. We're looking at the future of crypto and saying, hey, in the 2030s, there's going to be the worst news you've ever seen for crypto. And it's going to feel like crypto is done. It's going to feel like it's over. It's going to feel like it's done for the count. Something's going to happen that's never happened before. And it's going to put a tremendous amount of fear in the space. I just want you to come back to this video. If you're in watching this in the year, 2030, 2031, 2033, even, 2029, and we're heading into it, or 2028 heading into it. I just want you to stay level-headed. And I'm going to give you the clues to look for right here. And you're going to be able to follow this. But just know that how it comes out of this is how you are going to make significant wealth, which leads us into our next point. What's my prediction for Bitcoin? What's my prediction for altcoins? And how do I think this thing's going to play out? Well, like all patterns, they repeat. The problem is Bitcoin has never lived through this. Therefore, it's going to shake the crypto market more than it's been. You got to keep in mind, Bitcoin just turned 16, sweet 16. It's been around the block. It just hasn't been through something like this. So do I think Bitcoin will survive? And how do I think it will play out? I think Bitcoin will go into the 2030s as the number one crypto. And I think Bitcoin will come out of the 2030s as the number one crypto. Bitcoin is not going to die during this period. However, it's going to be the best time to buy during this period, because I'm telling you, everybody's going to give up. In
It's true.
It's going to be such a purge, and miners are going to have a big trouble, and everybody's going to say Bitcoin can't keep going because of the miners there's going to be there's going to be a war, there's going to be a lot of different things happening. But I just need you to stay level-headed. Bitcoin's going to live through it. It's been around the block a little bit. It hasn't been through a situation like that, but I think it will come out.
Okay.
10 years. 10 years of bad. 10 years of purges. Hey, man, I'm not a big fan of Joseph Stalin, but when it comes to the retards and the parasites and the maxi and the Bitcoin maxis, he's exactly right. I honestly think Bitcoin will have its purges as it dips and we go into hard times. People are going to sell out to make their fiat wealth and to stay stable, and they're going to give up. They may go chase other exchanges and all that, but he's correct. It will probably go in number one and it will come out number one. And all of the retards, all of the parasitic retards, from software to the miners to just your shit-lived store of value investor, they're gone. They're going to pull out, and it has the potential, in my opinion, to reevaluate and assess Bitcoin for what it can be and what it should be and what it could be after it goes through this process. I really do think the purgings are going to have to come during the hard times. Like they
I
said,
agree with.
like they say, weak men create hard times and hard times create strong men.
Well, I can see the big situation with Bitcoin in this period of time is that it becomes too expensive to mine Bitcoin, and so a large percentage of the mining, the hash rate, it falls through the floor, right? And so the price falls as a result of that. But eventually, there's going to be a state of stability. They're going to hit rock bottom, and it'll find support, and that's when the price will fluctuate back, and it'll slowly build itself up and then back, and then this over. And you got to remember what he's talking about. The traditional stock market, they don't trade 24/7 like Bitcoin does.
No, they don't. They don't. They trade.
So
they
the
actually
period
close
of
out on
time-
Fridays. They close
period
out
of
at what,
time-
4:30 p.m. on Friday for the weekend, and then they open back up at like 8 on Monday or some shit like that.
Yeah. So the period of time for Bitcoin won't be as extensive as the stock market is, but it will be a rough
Well,
ride.
yeah. I mean, of course, it's going to be a rough ride. But I'm liking the purging though.
Are
I
you
am
sure you're
liking the
not the
purging.
challenger? Okay,
Maybe,
want to
maybe.
get back into it?
Let's jump back into it. We got a few more tickers on the clock there, everybody.
Yeah, 4 minutes looks like.
I think what is needed for the crypto space in order to be really healthy is, I would say, 80% of the altcoins are going to die. No hype, just facts. Subscribe and relax. And I think that's much needed, to be honest with you. I think most of them are scams or frauds or whatever the case may be. There's just too many of them that are useless. And I think this will be the healthiest thing that's ever happened to the crypto space.
Power companies hate when you do this, but there's nothing they can do about it. There's a new portable cooling system that
I think there's going to be some altcoins that really show the world that they're here to stay. And when we come out of that, I do think there's going to be some altcoins that come out of that. Bitcoin's going to come out of that. And then we're going to have the most glorious rally that we've seen since the early days of Bitcoin. And that potentially will happen, you know, in the late 2030s to potentially early 2040s. And that'll be a turning point for Bitcoin's history, because there's no stopping it at that point. And it's going to take over something major in the world in the 2040s, because it's going to come out of this hot. It's going to come out hotter than anything else. There's going to be stocks, there's going to be all these different investments that come out of it. Crypto will just run circles around everybody. And I think Bitcoin is going to leap in front of everything by far. And eventually in the 2040s, Bitcoin's going to come some worldwide leader for, I think, multiple countries. And there'll be some big shift in the 2040s, because keep in mind, in the 2030s, the world will be against Bitcoin, and it will seem like Bitcoin is about to die forever. And they will have RIP Bitcoin everywhere. But then Bitcoin's going to come out hot. It's going to take the world by storm again. It's going to remind everybody who it is. And then at that point, it'll be undeniable that it'll take a new shape, I believe, in the 2040. I know we're talking about so long from now, but this is, I think, one of the most important things to pay attention to is, when do we enter this? And then how can we maximize? Because if you look at it, we've had multiple bottoms during these 10-year periods, and those are each of the bottom when we're below the red. It becomes a pretty easy game. It's like, okay, we have a 10-year period, we flip to red. Okay, wait a year and a half, buy that bottom. Then we're going to have a rally back above the green. Probably good to take profits. Okay, we're coming back down to our market structure. Let's rebuy there. You know, there's just some simple ways to multiply your portfolio, which will seem almost illegal, like how easy the game becomes when you look at these bigger cycles. So share this video with everyone in crypto. Everybody needs to see this and get a dose of what is coming, inevitably what is coming, and how I think Bitcoin will react. Let me know how you think this is going to play out, and what is your prediction, so that we can come back in the future and watch what you commented and see if it comes true. This bull run is our road to 500,000 subscribers, but I need your help. Today, tell one person about
you
our
can
YouTube
move on.
channel, how we spit fast, go against the
Okay.
herd, take no.
Stop being hypnotized. It's the outro. It's ended. That's a quite an intriguing concept. Are you done
He's-
now?
he-
Are you
he's,
having an out of body experience?
I'm dissociating. Yes. How did you know?
Yep. So, do you find that it's easier to put you in a hypnotic state, and for someone to guide you into another alternate reality of the confines of your mind, where you end up walking through a door and discovering your past life?
I mean, that is a very loaded question. I'm not sure exactly how to answer that.
I'm diving into philosophy now. So
Oh,
ethics,
I thought you were diving
philosophy.
to Philip J. Fry. So, okay.
So that too. Are you Philip J. Fry? Are you gonna accidentally trip and fall into a cryogenic freezer and wake up in the year 3001?
God, I hope so.
Why?
I mean, it sounds like fun. I'd like to have an alcoholic best friend named Bender.
No. You wouldn't know anybody. You'd have to make your own family, and they're probably honestly looking at how Futurama is situated. It really is idiocracy. Everybody's retarded.
Yeah.
So
Yo, Flo.
what now? Yeah, and there's suicide machines on every corner, which is kind of sad. That's where
Uninstall
moral
machines?
relativism gets you. Uninstall
Yeah.
machines. Yeah, that's where moral relativism gets you into trouble. The reason I bring that concept up, first off, salute to Mark. And secondly, because we went deep. But secondly, in correspondence to Bitcoin, how do you perceive the future? Do you look at it for what he's forecasting, what he's predicting in this message, or do you think it'll traject towards a different pathway?
I think in the long term, he's right in the fact that it's going to come out, go in and come out the top coin, but it's going to be substantially weaker compared to when it came in to the 2030s, because the dominance chart, it's showing over an extended period of time that Bitcoin as the market leader, it's losing ground year over year to like Ethereum and Bitcoin Cash and stuff like that. And I think that
Are you
it's actually healthy because it flips the market and lets something else that's more realistic
sure?
take over and
Sure.
lead the market, and it decentralizes it. At least that's my
Sure.
perspective.
Sure. But then you also have to put it into this perspective. Assets, cryptos like Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, they're going to have their drawback as well. I mean, it's going to affect this bloodbath, as he's calling it, is going to affect the whole scale of the cryptocurrency apparatus.
Yeah.
So perhaps you got to put it in perspective on where Bitcoin's going to lie in parallel with Ethereum or Bitcoin Cash or even Monero, and what's going to happen with them. So could you have something where it splits off and you're more decentralized, and perhaps there is a new kid on the block, or maybe it's just more competitive, or is it everybody's basically cashed out and people kind of walk away scared, fearful, and wanting to collect their due before everything crumbles. And out of that, Bitcoin sustains itself and retakes, it is losing its luster, but retakes that cemented hierarchy of being number one in the 2040s. You go
He
in
makes a
number
good
one, you
point.
come out. Yeah, no, go in number one, you come out number one, because everybody else is going to deal in their own situations. And I think he has a point with the altcoins. Many of them are going to be done. They will be
That's
toast.
what I was is that kind of feeds into the thing I was talking about, the dominance, is that with
Mhm.
the those altcoins that do die because of, it's just inefficient for them to be in the market, that means the money's got to go somewhere, and it supports the more core projects,
Mhm.
not
Which
core, but
means, which
Bitcoin
yeah,
Cash,
and mhm.
Ethereum,
Look,
ADA.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, all of those projects will end up going into the support for as you said, Bitcoin, like all of the major cryptos. So I think all of them have all of the major projects that we see today. They'll go in top or close to the top, and they'll come out at the top or close to the top. Most of the altcoins will evaporate into the major project. And I think he has a point. I think Bitcoin will come out still number one, totally reshaped, probably for the better, I hope. And everything else, like your Bitcoins and your Ethereums, your Litecoins, et cetera, they'll have their place as well. And they'll be near the top too. You'll have a different scale, in my opinion. I think it'll be more competitive. I think it'll be more utilitarian rather than just a store value asset, in my opinion. Of course, you're going to have that variation, but you'll have that balance. But Bitcoin, I don't foresee falling and somebody else taking over. There won't be a new kid on the block. I think there'll be a little bit more of a equal co-share, but you're still not going to have your
co-equal actors.
Yeah, you're going to have your co-factorization alongside the guy that still takes and solidifies his throne. So Bitcoin will still be king, effectively. That's what I'm saying. With all the jesters dead and gone.
We're sorry, Krillin. You just had too weak of hands. We had to shake you out of the market. That's why Goku went Super Saiyan.
That's why Krillin's bald.
Hey, are you saying I'm weak?
Yep, I'm saying you're weak. You can't go Super Saiyan.
I guess you're right.
He's also not a Saiyan. He's an Earthling.
Saiyajin.
I don't know. With that, anything else on the subject matter that you want to speak about?
I mean, like I said, I really encourage people to look into Steve from Crypto Crew University. He's very smart. I've learned everything I know from him because I only focus on what he says. Because he's got a pretty good proven track record. I don't want to mix it.
Channel will be his channel tag. And the link to this video will be in the description below on both YouTube and Rumble. Follow us over to Rumble. Check your shorts, man, over on YouTube. But follow us over to Rumble. Try to help us get big on that because YouTube sucks. So much censorship. But follow us over to Rumble. But in the descriptions, both on YouTube and Rumble, you will find Steve's channel and the
He's
video
also
link.
on X.
He is on X. You can find him on X, but I was referring to what we're going to have in the description below in the show notes.
Just saying.
So, but yeah, please follow us over the Rumble. Let's build something on Rumble because YouTube absolutely and atrociously sucks. With that, I think we've said enough on this topic. Let everybody else be the judge of it. Let them go explore and investigate. We've said our piece, and you also have a very angry old man trying to look. He's looking for something behind you, dude.
Is he looking for a senzu bean?
No, he's looking at your book that he's about to shove up his ass.
I'm going to have to leave now, but I was sure I came in by that door over there. Hey, man, where's the door to get out of here?
Oh, it's right over there, sir.
Right over where?
The exit sign? Exit sign? It's that door right there.
That red sign?
Yeah, just go right that way.
Okay.
I think it went down the wrong door.
Where am I? Hey, what the fuck's wrong with you? That's not the right door.
Sir, you're gonna want to go to the one with the exit. You went to the door to the side there.
I went to the right doors and where you pointed me to, you fuck.
I pointed you to the exit.
Man, you're fucking with the wrong guy.
I'm sorry.
You see this bulge on my hip? You know what that is?
That's a gun.
That's a Glock. You're fucking with the wrong guy.
Yeah.
Don't ever send me to the wrong door.